The 2022 Anime of the Year Awards from Anime Corner is not really super surprising, but also kind of disappointing. But I will have to say, I am glad that anime from the fall 2022 anime season, like BOCCHI Barack, is allowed to compete in this one, unlike Crunchyroll, who is biased. I'm sorry to say that, but it's the truth. Let's look at this. So, number one, we got Attack on Titan, the final season part 2, which I have to say, how many final seasons are we going to actually get Attack on Titan? 1000-Year Blood War arc from Bleach, Mob Psycho 100, season 3, Kaguya-sama, Cyberpunk, Demon Slayer, Summertime Rendering, My Girls Chisato and Takina, love them, Spy Family, and number 10, BOCCHI Barack, aka BOCCHI Peak. Now, why do I say this is a little bit disappointing? Well, because, the top are shonen action series, but then again, I don't really know the demographic of Anime Corner, but maybe it is more shonen fans than really slice of life, which, kind of is the case overall. I would say at the very least, the most vocal people are the shonen fans, which, is what it is, but I am glad to see at least BOCCHI Barack made it on the list, but a little bit disappointed that it is number 10 with a 4.62 votes, and there was 82,000 votes, so wasn't really like a small number of votes by any means. I'm personally not really a big fan of Attack on Titan. I know it's a very beloved, popular series, although I will have to say, Bleach being number 2, I am happy with it, although I've only watched like a few episodes of Bleach 1000-Year Blood War arc, and just the little bit that I've seen is absolutely peak fiction, because I love Bleach. It's definitely my favorite out of the big 3, so happy to see that it's number 2, although, it should be number 1. Mob Psycho, peak fiction as well, only seen up to the 2nd season. Well, actually, I haven't finished the 2nd season, but again, really popular series. Kaguya Love is War, personally have not watched it, so I know a lot of people say it's peak romance. I've only watched a few episodes. Now, number 5, we got Cyberpunk Edgerunners. Now, I will say that this anime really hit me deep, but it only lasted like 2 to 3 days. Cyberpunk Edgerunners being number 5 is, a little bit surprising to me because, when it first came out, a lot of people were talking about it, but then it just kind of died off, I would say. Not really so many people talking about it after, a couple months, I want to say. Even me, as much as I loved it, I gave it, a 10 out of 10 when I first finished it, because, like I said, I was hit emotionally by it. I was like, dang, man, that was really good, but now I've given it an 8 out of 10. I thought about it more, and I'm like, you know what? I think it was the initial emotion that I had in reaction to the series, why I really thought it was so amazing, but after giving a little bit of time and thinking, I would say it's more like a solid 8 out of 10, maybe 7.5, so, honestly, surprising to see that it's number 5, even after all this time. Demon Slayer, honestly, surprised that it's not higher, because we all know Demon Slayer, has a huge fan base, and, Demon Slayer, Mid Slayer, okay, it's not actually mid, in my opinion. Like I've said, it's overrated and overhated. I would say that, it is really, really good. I've only watched the first season. Actually, no, I'm, 1 episode behind of finishing the first season, and, who hasn't seen Demon Slayer at this point? There's so many edits, so much talk about it. If you're an anime fan, I would be highly surprised if you have not, seen any form of Demon Slayer. So, being number 6, actually below Cyberpunk Edgerunners, is actually really surprising to me, although I'm not surprised that it's in the top 10. Summertime Rendering, I've not really heard a whole lot about this anime, and I know Chibi reviews really love this anime, definitely vouches this series a lot, so I'll just have to take his word for it, and apparently plenty of other people's word for it, that it is pretty good. Lycoris Recoil was definitely my favorite of its airing season, and one of my favorite anime of all time, but it was really nice to see some really badass female leads just kick some ass, and I love Chisato and Takina. They are such an amazing duo, and yeah, but, Yuri, I love to see it as well. The action was absolutely awesome. I love Majima, who is a great villain, although I wouldn't say, top 10 best, but he was certainly interesting. Surprisingly, not as dark as I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be absolutely fucked up, but surprisingly, kind of ended on a more happy note. Although I have to say, spoiler, if you haven't watched it, I don't know how I would have handled if something, bad happened to Chisato, because I feel like most people, including me, who watched this, definitely were at the edge of their seats, because, it's not based on any light novel or manga, so there was no, reading ahead and knowing what would happen. Whoever is voting for it, you got some good taste, I have to say. Lycoris Recoil, chef's kiss. Next is Spy Family at number 9, and I have to say, this anime really fell off hard. Now, it's still a very, very popular, really solid series, but it was, number 1 on my anime list. Well, season 1 was, because it kind of took the internet by storm. I have personally read the manga, and I'm past where it is with season 2, and I love the manga. I straight up give it a 9 out of 10. It's absolutely peak fiction. The anime is doing an amazing job as well, I have to say, but I don't think it's doing anything necessarily revolutionary compared to the manga, which, is really not a bad thing in my opinion. All I ask for anime adaptations to be is just do justice to the manga, which I think Spy Family is absolutely doing an amazing job. Leads us to number 10, which does hurt my soul. Now, I'm glad, at the very least, it's on the list, but BOCCHI The Peak is the best anime of 2022. Far better than anything on this list. Now, don't get me wrong, like I said, all these anime are pretty freaking good. Anime for 2022 had some absolute bangers, and I would have to say one of the best years for anime that we ever had. So, not gonna lie, it's a little bit disappointing to see that more BOCCHI Barok fans did not vote on Anime Corner's best anime of the year for 2022, but I am glad to see it's number 10 at the very least. But thank you, Anime Corner, for letting Fall be able to compete in this. I appreciate that so much, and I'm sure plenty of other people do as well. But thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one.